Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Way We See It right here on the FFN network. It's Tuesday night, ladies and gentlemen, and that's right. It's The Way We See It. We're here for 2 great hours, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Mr. D and Mr. Donald are not going to be with us tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, there's only one man, and there's only one man, and there's only one way to introduce this man, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? He's my boy from all over, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies. He's from New Hampshire. He knows New Hampshire had 3 governors, but he only knows one. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, with the stylish glasses, the way he flips his hair back. There's only one guy that can do that, ladies and gentlemen, and he's got a show for you tonight. And there's only one person that can do it right here on the FFN network is the one and only. Let's give it up for Mr.
Thank you very much, Blazeman. Oh, say, can you see that big bridge up ahead? Across the wide
All right,
gaping
Mr.
river.
B, how are we doing tonight, my fine friend?
We
And welcome to everybody out
outstanding,
there
my
in
friend, and all the
internet
people
land.
there.
Hello, we're talking over one another.
Sorry about that.
And welcome everyone in from the glorious world of the internet. And you know, the coolest thing that I think about in my lifetime is I was born at the right time. You know, I know after I'm gone that technology is going to be like far surpassed anything I can imagine. Just like I never imagined any of this in 1980. You know, Atari games were just being cool. So, but good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Way We See It, where we bring you the latest and most significant headlines from around the globe. So, you ready to dive in here, Mr. B, or what?
Absolutely. We bring you the latest and the greatest, and some award-winning commentary as well.
Oh, absolutely. So, so first up, B is a New York judge has placed a limited gag order on former President Donald Trump in relations to his ongoing criminal hush money case. This development adds another layer of completely to the case that has captured the nation's attention.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that, my friend. Matter of fact, but the problem is, they can gag order this and gag order that. The man's campaigning. And if at some certain point in time he happens to have a whimsical flight of fancy, a flippant slip, an utterance, or whatever else, what are they going to be able to do about it? What are they going to turn around, jail the guy because he I don't know, whatever. Of course, they'll try and fine him or whatever else, but we'll see what goes on with that. But yeah, gag orders do sometimes, or oftentimes, come hand in hand with lawsuits, especially with things having to do when they have people that are contentious between the sexes and so forth. and insensitive nature sorts of things. It is understandable for that to happen. However, yeah, it does smack of trying to limit the man's ability to go out and go around and do his
Well,
campaigning.
I agree with you to a sense. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. It's just another prop here. I was supposed to really put up there. Now, okay. So here's the thing. I mean, yeah, it's incredibly sad that our government, because it is our government. I mean, I don't care if it's the Democrats that are in charge. It's still our government. And it just makes me flipping mad, and how people just can't see the fact that, and how this man's being pursued. You know, if you talk to a Democrat or whatever the situation may be, you can't have a civil conversation. And with that being said, B, let me just let's play this latest on the judge's call here.
Hi, I'm Diana Macedo. We have breaking news. Former President Trump will stand trial in the hush money case against him starting April 15th. Trump's team had tried to further delay that trial, arguing they needed more time to review newly released evidence, but the judge rejected that argument. Meanwhile, an appeals court has ruled that former President Trump can post a smaller bond than the $464 million originally imposed in his New York civil fraud trial. A panel of 5 judges are now giving Trump's team 10 days to secure a bond of $175 million before New York Attorney General can start seizing his properties. Earlier, Trump thanked that appellate court and said he would abide by their decision.
I greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and I'll post either $175 million in cash or bonds or security or whatever is necessary very quickly within the 10 days. And I thank the appellate division for acting quickly.
Trump clearly happy there. The ruling by the appellate court, less so on the ruling in the hush money case today. Let's bring in executive editorial producer John Santucci, ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer, and ABC News contributor, former Georgia prosecutor Chris Timmons for more. John, a lot to follow today because of these 2 cases happening at the same time. But let's start with the latest, this April 15th trial date now in this hush money case. What does that mean for Trump?
It means that Donald Trump, for the first time ever, is going to be sitting on trial under criminal charges. I mean, just think about it. It is nearly a year to the day this week that the first criminal indictment was handed down. And now, in just a few weeks from that time, Donald Trump is going to be sitting in that same Manhattan courtroom when he was arraigned around early April last year, Diane, for the start of the trial. It means for at least 6 weeks, Donald Trump is going to be living back in New York. He is going to have to be at court every morning, stay throughout the day, stay until the evening, and come back again and do it the next day. It means that he will have to sit there as witnesses, including Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, some folks that were affiliated with AMI, David Pecker, who eventually was involved in the pay-to-play or catch-and-kill scandal. This is all around. Are all going to testify about it, and he has to listen to every single one of them. This is not like what we've seen previously, that he gets an option to come back or not. Donald Trump is literally going to have to be there. That's just something, an image. I wish cameras were in court in New York. I wish we could see it. So that's part 1 of the developments. Part 2, we were all waiting to see what was going to happen in the New York Attorney General's case today. This was a deadline. Donald Trump having to put up $464 million. Now we know the Court of Appeals has thrown him a lifeline, now down to $175 million for bond. That does not mean the full amount goes away. It just means for here and now, it's less money Donald Trump has to put up. He had a tough time securing $464 million. It's my understanding from talking to sources close to the former president, they think this amount of money more doable.
Brian, in the hush money case, Trump's team tried to argue that they got this new evidence, over 100,000 pages of documents provided to them only recently, and they needed more time to review it. Why didn't that go over with the judge? And why did the judge seem so hostile at times to what Trump's team was trying to argue in terms of prosecutorial misconduct?
Yeah, so what you have to understand is that pre-2019, New York State had what was arguably one of the worst discovery laws in the country. After 2019, it was revamped, and the way that it worked.
My word.
That was me. Yeah, that was the end of that. So, I mean, again, to me, it's all about keeping him distracted. Okay, you know what I mean, and just just not being fair, man.
What does a bully do?
You know what I'm
He
saying?
runs up to his victim, and the first thing he does is he gives a big shove to throw him off kilter. And that's exactly what these people keep doing. They keep running up and giving Trump a shove to throw him off kilter and try to dislodge him and get him off his track and make him come unglued and unwrapped and this and that and all of that stuff. It's all a bunch of horse shit in plain English.
Well, I know it's I would say 90% horse shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because look at what happened to Joe Biden's accuser. Do you remember her?
Nobody remembers her.
So you don't remember her.
No, not at all.
Well, we're going to have to capture that during a break or something. I'm going to try to whip through the FFN video archives and see if I can't pull that up. But anyways, now all of a sudden, Biden's accuser, she went away pretty damn fast, huh?
Of course.
She went away fast.
She went away fast. Clinton's accusers, they poo-pooed her name, that, whatever else. Things that people had made mention about Barack, the Wonder Schmuck, that all went away. Anything and everything.
Yeah, but you're just throwing out things, their names, Clinton this, Clinton that. We all know that Clinton got caught. So
Stormy Daniels, look what they did with her.
That's what I'm saying. That's what this is about.
Nothing ever happened with Stormy Daniels. Clinton got caught with Monica Lewinsky with the blue dress.
Yes, because the other woman wanted to set them up. It was all a setup. Anyways, again, so you was throwing them out there. So I never heard any kind of like scandal about Barack, except for him potentially being gay or something to that nature. But I never heard
a dead body in his front lawn.
What dead body? The front lawn. Are you talking about? You got to be clearer, B. Yeah, are we talking about the mansion?
Yeah, it's the mansion.
Yeah, well,
there's nothing.
Yeah, and we're not gonna be, even if we continue to dig, which I know that was a baby story of yours, but always, you can always dig, B, and you could always, we could revisit it. But again, so all right, you said Barack, okay, and I mean, look, you got the Kennedys, they all kind of do it, right? But
Barack the Wonder Schmuck had many things that came out. Barack the Wonder Schmuck had many things that came out. It came out that his birth certificate was forged. They kept saying, well, he was Hawaiian and so forth and all this stuff. There were so many different things that came out with Barack, but they took and they covered it all over and stamped on it and dropped this.
For me, I think they went a little too hard as far as the birth certificate bullshit went. Again, for me, I mean, they used to say nasty shit about the man. Let's be honest. They used to call him a monkey and all kinds of shit. So let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. It happens, and it's terrible that even in politics that it happens like that, But those words never came from a government official. You know what I mean? But they were in magazines and things to that nature, and. Sometimes it makes you sit back and think about like your First Amendment right, where it's, oh, it's okay to say whatever you want. Fucking things can be pretty hurtful, man. Again, for me, it's just, a delay and trying to delay so he can't be, a part of his election. Okay. But I also heard a nice little quick quote from a reporter today, and he had said that Trump's courtroom stuff is his campaign. Do you follow what he meant by that?
I understand that to a point, but
well, no. Listen, he's getting more. He's getting more, and people are paying attention. More people are donating to his campaign more now because
everybody knows, Blaze. Everybody knows the only thing better than good press is bad press.
Well,
Only thing
only kind of
good press,
only bad
bad
press. The only I forget how it goes, but there's no, you can never not get enough of press, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
good.
the
It's
way.
incredible for his advertising and whatever else. These people they just don't get it.
Yeah.
They keep
Well,
turning around and trying to throw something else at him, and if anything, it's making the American people turn around and faster run in the direction of the voting booth for Trump.
right.
And thank God for it. Thank God for it.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you got a question for Mr. B or myself, Blazeman, right here from the way we see it, you can give us a call at 508-974-4231. Again, that's 508-974-4231. And you can also send us an email at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com. Listen, we're not the type of guys that are gonna. Well, maybe Mr. B is, but we won't shun you. Doesn't matter what you want to talk about. There's no yelling and screaming on this show at all. So, moving on to a shocking incident in Baltimore. This went on at like 1:30 in the morning last night, Mr. B. Well, I should say this morning. A cargo ship lost power and collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge, leading to its collapse. Officials acted heroically to halt traffic before the disaster, potentially saving many lives. However, the search continues for 6 individuals who remain missing following the collapse. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, this that info right there, it's about 6 hours old. Okay, I'm sure you heard more on your local news or whatever the situation may be, but we're always up to speed here on the way we see it in the FFN network.
I can help fill you in if you'd like.
Huh?
I can help fill you in a little bit of background.
Go ahead.
If you need it. Okay.
Just shoot right in there.
I didn't want to talk over you. The Francis Scott Key Bridge was originally constructed back in 1977. It was a steel fabrication and so forth, which apparently only had 2 major bridge abutments out situated, which was probably one of the biggest design flaws that I could possibly think of. The ship that hit it was not owned by the Maersk. It was operated by the Maersk company. It was owned by another, if you will, shell company or whatever else that owns the ship. It was leased by the Maersk people and had several other incidents that had warranted inspections, and they received some write-ups about safety concerns and structural concerns and so forth. They even have had incidences where they had a collision with a pier and I believe with another vessel over in the Netherlands someplace. I don't know exactly where it was, but if you Google things or YouTube or Facebook or whatever else, look for things, you'll be able to find actual videos of these collisions.
Didn't you just say you couldn't find anything?
Pardon me?
Didn't you just say you couldn't find anything?
No, I didn't say I could not find anything. I don't have. I said you can find.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I was going to
Anyway,
say why are you doing that?
It is unclear if the person piloting and responsible, the captain of this vessel, was the one who was behind, if you will, the other incidents that have taken place. I believe
you're saying this captain
had
other
not
problems?
Be the same one.
Well, because it's probably not because number one, the captain of that ship does not take that ship out of port. The captain of that ship does not take that ship out of port. All port stations have their own captains that are familiar with, how far the water goes down here, if they can make it here or make it there. Okay. So let's clear that up. It was not the captain of that vessel, okay, that hit the bridge. Okay. And it wasn't the fault of the captain that rides him out. Something happened, and we're going to get to that right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's listen up. You got that beat?
Got it.
Cargo ship knocked into the Francis Scott Key Bridge at around 1:30 this morning. You can see the impact of that crash on your screen right now.
I'm sorry, folks. Here we go.
Cargo ship knocked into the Francis Scott Key Bridge at around 1:30 this morning. You can see the impact of that crash on your screen right now, and just section by section of that bridge falling into the water. Now the ship caught fire after it hit the bridge. Also want to note here, it's not clear what led up to the ship crashing. It is still very early into the investigation.
Yeah, so rescue crews are continuing to work around the clock right
So
now,
this
looking for the
this
survivors.
this was
Baltimore fire
you know,
officials
all
say two
recorded
people were
last night, so we're ahead of the game a little bit, you know. And we'll explain that as it goes, ladies and gentlemen.
pulled from the water, one in serious condition. The second one, we're told, walked away and refused treatment. Authorities are saying that they're trying to rescue anywhere from 7 to 20 people. Here's what the mayor of Baltimore had to say about the crash just a little while ago.
Well, this is
Now, I couldn't wait to play this video today because also the tragedy, which is very, very, very sad. There's this kid. What does this guy look? 19, 24 at most.
Looks to be deceiving.
I looked all right. B, how old do you think he is?
At face, I'm guessing the man is probably in his mid-30s.
No, for me, he looks either between 19 to 25 years old.
This is the mayor of Baltimore.
Yes, yes, this is the mayor.
tragedies you can never imagine, right? And I was awake when Chief Wallace called me, but never would you think that you would physically see the Key Bridge tumble down like that. It looked like something out of an action movie. And you just think about, most importantly, which is what we all should be thinking about right now, nothing but those families and people that are impacted, and those people who are risking their lives right now, from not just Baltimore City and Baltimore County, but all over the state, to try to save lives. That should be our focus, the preservation of life, because no one wants to see that happen, let alone someone in their family or someone that they know be injured in an incident like this.
Well, B.
One thing that I do have to say is they were a little bit incorrect in their reporting about the fire on the ship. Further investigation regarding the ship. If you watch Ian Steps the video of the ship shortly before it makes contact, you can see the lights are on. The lights go out on the ship for a small period. The lights and so forth come back on, and the lights go out again.
Right.
The lights come on,
the
and you can
captain
see
had
at this
no
point,
control. He had no control of the ship.
Please, you can see at this point, smoke starts pouring out of the top of the ship before the ship strikes the bridge.
Right.
And so this is something that's telling us that there was some form, most likely an electrical type fire that had started on board the ship before the collision took place.
Could have. This wasn't just something that, like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, the boat, excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen, the boat just hit the bridge. Okay, there's a bunch of things that had to happen. And one thing that happened was the most intelligent thing that I could understand, because they were like, oh, over 37,000 cars cross that bridge every day. And I'm like, now how are we sitting here and only hearing, thank God, that we're only hearing this many. But what the captain did was he called ahead. So he had enough of time to call ahead, to get proper channels, to tell them, listen, stop traffic on that bridge because we're going to hit it. And the boat has the same type of flight recorders in it. So we're waiting to see about data from that. Well, with that being said, let's take a listen.
And we now go back to the breaking news out of Baltimore at this hour. Rescue and recovery efforts are underway after the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which is part of Interstate 695, partially collapsed when a large cargo ship struck the bridge
He says
overnight.
partially.
You're seeing the footage there of the stunning collapse. Right now, it's too early to determine how many people were affected. But according to the Associated Press, emergency responders there are searching for at least 7 people believed to be in the water. The Baltimore Fire Department called the collapse a developing mass casualty event. Francis Scott Key Bridge opened in 1977, a major thoroughfare there.
Okay, B. So, because I got to pause this right here, B, because think about this. Now, the captain called ahead to have
he issued a distress
stopped.
signal.
Listen, to have traffic stopped, right?
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah, yeah.
The 7 people that they were looking for, or are still looking for, and let's pray, that they're found okay. Those were construction workers working on the bridge.
They obviously
did
didn't have
they
enough time to
have
get
this
down for the
entire
decisions.
bridge carted off? Cut off. There was no other civilian cars on that bridge whatsoever. Because if that's the case, that is some fast thinking from this captain on this ship. Because this must have happened soon as it, I don't know. I think they said it got up to as high as 10 knots. Okay. And then stuff had to happen. Now, a ship that size, which is probably the size of a freaking Nimitz aircraft carrier, you know what I mean? And once that thing 10 miles an hour or not, you know what I mean? You're not stopping it.
Plus the weight.
Well, right. Plus the weight that's on it, but you're not stopping it. I don't care if it's going 5 miles an hour. You're not stopping this. So, and of course,
according to information that I have, a ship loaded with the kind of cargo that it had, usually traveling at the speed or about the speed that it was traveling at, would take roughly a little bit more than a mile to bring it to a stop.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And that's not even accounting for the
your
current
best
of the
bet,
river.
Right, exactly. And your best bet, I don't know. I'll tell you right now, if I was on the port, right, and I would have sent out, if they were available, I would have sent out like fucking 4 tugboats. And I would have been like, get on the side of that bitch and fucking just all your power, just push.
There's
turn it
no way
out
the tugboats would have been able to have made that in the time that
tugboats are designed to push them machines. B.
They considering where they were there any tugboats that were anywhere close enough to get to them?
B. That's what I had just said. I said if there was tugboats around, I would have made the decision to have tugboats going out. Okay, and just slamming into the side of this thing, and pushing it. Try to just push it out of the way. But I guess the best thing is that they alerted in enough time to stop all traffic. Because I haven't heard anything about civilian deaths, 100, 200, 50, 60, 14.
If you see the video, you can actually see that there were some vehicles crossing the bridge just before impact was made.
Right, but it's not being reported on.
And it has been reported that they have been finding cars underwater. Whether or not they were there before the collision, I don't know.
Well, that would be easy to determine. B, they'd be all rusty. Let's finish this off, pal. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
In Baltimore, this will have implications for traffic in the region for weeks, but the priority, of course, people who may have been on that bridge now in the water. Sunrise in Baltimore, 6:59 a.m., so still nearly an hour and a half away. So rescue efforts currently going on in the dark. We will continue to follow this developing story throughout the morning, and we're hearing from Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. He tweeted moments ago that he spoke with Maryland Governor Wes Moore and the mayor of Baltimore to offer the federal department support. We will bring you updates throughout the show about this tragedy unfolding in Baltimore.
Hey, everyone, MSN.
So, yeah, that's what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. So stick around for more of The Way You See It with yours truly, Blazeman, and my boy B. We will be right back.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking around for more of The Way We See It right here on the FFN network. So for me, the thing here is that we'll get to the bottom of it. But what also made me nuts too was the fact that Pete Buttigieg and everybody's like, oh, we could have this thing up within 2 months, And I'm sitting here in our local area in Rhode Island. Their Washington Bridge is like screwed up. They're like, oh, it's going to take 2 years to rebuild it. They got to take it down and rebuild it. I mean, I don't. But Biden said that they're going to have every federal resource that they need there to make sure that bridge gets up, because the amount of money that's going to be lost. I think they said something about it like $30 million a day or something to that effect, or $30 billion for the year. That bridge, as far as shipments, Amazons, and all of those things like that. So companies are they're going to stop putting the pressure on everybody too.
That bridge is a big piece of that area's lifeline, and through that also is that river, because a lot of apparently import cars go in through the docks that are there, that are shipped out and around, shipped into and out and around or whatever else, and now it's literally blockaded. It's blocked off. They can't get up and down that river,
right?
Because that beautiful bridge is now nothing more than a pile of junk. And before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to Stephanie all the way up in Wiscasset, Maine, who just wrote to me personally and said that she was watching and she was horrified to hear about what had happened to the people and what happened with that bridge. So thank you very much. Hello, Stephanie. And
hello, Stephanie. Stephanie.
yeah, okay, yeah. Stephanie.
Hello, Stephanie.
Yeah.
She could comment right on here. I hope that she knows that. So let's touch a little bit on the border crisis there, Mr. B. And ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick listen to this video.
Border. Howdy, Eric. Thanks for having me this afternoon. First and foremost, what you see happening in Eagle Pass, out in El Paso, Arizona, and out in San Diego isn't what we deal with in Terrell County. In our county, we have specific illegal aliens, those looking to enter the border undetected. When you encounter them in the field, they run. If we interdict them on the highway, they lead us into a high-speed pursuit. It's nothing like what you've seen this past 3 years where Biden is allowing these asylum seekers into the country.
So you don't have what we've seen, these big groups that are just organized. They come in, they talk to Border Patrol. You've got much more an individualized, uncontrollable situation?
Well, I would still say they're organized because there isn't anything that crosses that border without having the permission of the cartel. So they're being smuggled in by a smuggler. In the portion of the border where we're at, along the 2,000-mile border with Mexico, it's the most remote, rugged terrain there is. Look, last 3 years, we've had 37 deaths. That's significant. Historically, we'd have 1 death a year, but again, 37 in the last 3 years.
You have what, about estimates say roughly 10 or so a day, but you've got a jail facility. What, you can only fit 7 people in your jail?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right. We can hold 7, but I do have agreements with my neighboring counties to where I can take those that we've apprehended for illegal alien smuggling. And so last year we had about 70 we put in jail, which ended up costing my county $70,000. But I'll tell you what, Governor Abbott came through with Operation Lone Star, and that helped us pay off that $70,000 debt.
That's really interesting because you're not just the sheriff, you're also the tax assessor for Terrell County. So from from the American taxpayer point of view, what is it doing to the residents of your county? You've got less than 1,000 people.
Yes, sir. So we're the 10th largest county in the state, but we only have about 800 residents. And we're a very poor county, meaning there's not a lot of revenue in our county. So just with the sheriff's office, we can only hire 3 people. That's myself and 2 other deputies. Again, through Operation Lone Star, here in the last month and a half, we've hired 2 more deputies to assist with border security means. In Terrell County, we don't have a crime problem. What we have is a border security problem.
But let me say that again. So basically, you have 5 law enforcement to cover how many square miles, roughly?
So we have 5 deputies to cover over 2,300 square miles and then 54 miles of border with Mexico. We do have a Border Patrol station there that has approximately 50 agents, but then their responsibility is 91 miles of border. They have all of Terrell County and a small portion of Brewster County.
That seems almost impossible that you're able to be able to do almost anything.
Well, I'll tell you what, we don't have as much activity as you see in other locations, but the activity that we do have there is the busiest portion of the border between Del Rio, Texas to El Paso, Texas. That's a 600 mile swath of border. The reason is there's not a lot of infrastructure south of us or north of us to facilitate it. But I'll tell you what, as we continue to put more infrastructure on the border throughout Arizona, California, down in South Texas and New Mexico, that flow is eventually going to start coming to us. We've already seen, let me tell you what, we had the second year Biden was in office compared to that last year of Trump, 418% increase. It's possible for them to cross in that area. Wow. They will exploit it soon.
And finally, Sheriff, what do you want to see happen? What should be in place now to stop what's happening in your county, stop what's going on across the border? What action should be taken to prevent what we have been seeing?
I say it often, and I say it to many people, that the prior 4 administrations, both Republican and Democrat, worked to get to the point where we had the most safe and secure border we'd ever had. All 4 of those administrations. What's going on right now with this administration has completely dismantled the border. The U.S. Border Patrol will turn 100 years old in 2 months. This administration took 6 months and dismantled all of that progress. But I'll tell you what, it could be solved overnight. To get to your question specifically, if the president would just bring back the migrant protection protocols, which is for those claiming asylum to remain in Mexico, or we put them in jail here in the United States. Now, the government will tell you there's not enough bed space, but I'll tell you why. It's because this administration cut funding for ICE that we were able to contract more bed space. It's solvable. They refuse to do it.
Do you think it'll be solved?
Not till we get a new president in the White House, unfortunately.
Sheriff, that is Cleveland knows firsthand, has to deal with it every day. Good luck to the 5 members of the law enforcement of your county, and we will get back to you and have you back soon to talk about what potential progress there is.
All right, B, hit it.
What do you want me to hit? You don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, of course we want to hear what you have to say, B.
Well, did you see that big time when they had the rush recently?
We can always,
those hundreds of people.
We can always do that to you, B.
They had that rush of hundreds of people that were rushing the thing, and the National Guard's people were just standing there picking their nose.
Well, they weren't picking their nose.
They did nothing.
What were they supposed to do?
Nothing.
What were they supposed to do?
You got someone who's attacking your border like that, rushing like that. What do? You shoot them. You want to stop them? Shoot them down.
But they're not on American soil.
You don't rush our freaking borders like you're attacking a castle, for God's sake, for Christ's sake. You want to come in this country, do it the right way. But when you do things like that, and look what they're doing to all the people for January the 6th. Look what they're doing to all those people. But these people that are going and rushing the thing and pushing down our fence, cutting holes through our fences, and coming through all hockety-pockety and doing anything? No. Did they do a damn thing? No. Nothing to them. They did nothing. What a bunch of horse shit in plain English. You want to stop them, start shooting them before they get onto our soil.
I'm not disagreeing, B. I'm disagreeing with the way you want to handle it. You know, you don't just go and shoot people.
The hell you don't.
Mr. B. I mean, there's much better ways that we can handle the situation. It's a freaking mess. And the only reason why that the Biden and the Democratic administration is doing or saying to do shit about it is because fucking elections this year. When are Democrats, when are the people that come into this country and then get into the country, okay, legally, all right, all of a sudden don't like Republicans? They'll help them better and faster than the Democrats will, because the Democrats are truly not trying to help you folks. What they want is your vote. What they want is your vote. And they'll let as many of you cross this damn border as they can so they can get it. That's my opinion.
You want me to vote for you? Stop this freaking shit from happening.
I wouldn't vote for him even if they did.
Vote for Donald Trump because he will stop this shit from happening.
Have you ever seen when Down the Rabbit Hole, that used to be our former show's name. We used to be the Rabbit Hole, and then we changed it to the way we see it. It's in the episode on one of the rabbit holes where we covered, that situation. You know what I mean? So.
What on it?
I mean, it's just what do you do? B, what do you do to fix it? Just, you don't got to go get crazy and stuff like that. But what do you do to fix it? Oh, please, B, don't talk about shooting people.
Well,
because B, I'm only saying that because you're like, oh, well, the National Guard, they did shit. You know what I mean? The rules of engagement for anything as far as military is concerned, you get shot at, then you shoot back. But I also heard that some of these migrants had weapons. I also heard that. Okay? But they weren't on American soil at that time, B. That big gate behind them was the American soil part. So I don't know how that would work if they started shooting them on a Mexican in Mexico. I don't know. And there's so many things to clear up, and because I even hear conservative friends of mine too. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I even hear some conservative friends of mine too. Is like, oh, are the Mexicans? And it's not Mexicans, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not.
It's not Mexicans. I would say, I swear to God, like maybe 11% are Mexicans. The rest be. Run a little list down of where they're coming from, B.
Oh, they're coming from Venezuela. They're coming from Eastern Bloc countries like Latvia, Estonia, Albania, things like that. They're coming from Cuba. They're coming from all over the place, other than Mexico, China. They're coming
Exactly.
from China.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they're getting in here because they're going in down through the Mexican border.
Right. And our I don't know if anybody's seen lately, ladies and gentlemen, but our threat alert is at a high risk now. Okay. So because we have to, our FBI has got to have like lights on type of deal because of everybody that's getting across the border. I mean, you would look at Russia as a pretty tight-nipped, security blanket around that son of a gun, So, but what I want to get into is some crazy Mr. B news on hip hop mogul there, Sean P. Diddy Combs. You know what I mean? They raided his house for the fucking sex trafficking investigation.
Well, they did happen to find drugs, which is what you would expect, but sex trafficking,
trafficking.
Surprise, surprise.
Let's watch this shit right here, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is FFN Network breaking news. Dun, 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 I'm sorry, folks. I'm a little retarded. All right.
And for more on this investigation, let's bring in former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker. Chris, great to have you on the show. I mean, the big headline there is kind of what we want to get into you with, because it is now been confirmed this is a sex trafficking case, but Sean Combs is not the target. Boy, he sure looks like the target, though, Chris. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, apparently HS.
Did they just say he wasn't the target?
He was not the target, apparently. Who the target is people apparently that are staying with him or living in his home.
But Sean Combs is not the target. Boy, he sure looks great to have you on the show. I mean, the big headline there is kind of what we want to get into you with, because it is now been confirmed this is a sex trafficking case, but Sean Combs is not the target. Boy, he sure looks like the target, though, Chris. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, apparently HSI is leaking out a lot of information, and you're right. It looks like there's a very significant sex trafficking, human trafficking investigation underway, and it looks like it's coming out of the HSI.
Yeah, look at the way they're pulling these boys
Division
out
of International Organized Crime, or something along those lines.
That's some serious shit. They're taking them out like that.
Pretty significant. Got 2 major search warrants, a lot of process around those search warrants, a lot of kitted out tactical people raiding those 2 locations. So it looks like a lot of drama around all this. And there's enough probable cause, because you don't get search warrants without strong probable cause, that there is at least a human trafficking, sex trafficking ring at work here.
And explain that to us, if you would, Chris, because I know we have talked about, Jonathan just talked about the fact that there have been a number of lawsuits brought against Sean Combs, women alleging that he drugged them, and et cetera, and so on. My questioning, where does the trafficking come in there? What is it that we need to constitute human trafficking, sex trafficking, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it looks like some of these lawsuits are sort of personal lawsuits, sexual assaults, sort of one-off. So to make human trafficking or make a human trafficking violation under federal law, You have to be taking women against their will and forcing them to commit sexual acts. Query whether there are underage women involved in this investigation. That would make it even more serious if underage women or men are being forced to commit sexual acts, crossing state lines, crossing international boundaries. And also a question mark is, what does this tie into an organized crime group, a human trafficking organization? And I can tell you, the federal agencies don't like to get involved in one-off type cases. Neither the FBI or HSI will engage in small one-off, one or two, prostitution rings and that sort of thing.
Hold the video for a
they're
moment.
working this case, there are every indication is that.
One of the things, I don't know if you can see this or not. I can see this. They are pussyfooting around the idea of drugging for sex.
They're pussyfooting around what? Drugging women for sex?
Yeah, they haven't mentioned it or whatever else. It seems like they've skirted all the way around it, having anything to do with drugs. However, news is that they did find illegal drugs in the man's residence.
Well, let's see if they get to that, B. You got me a little confused right now, buddy.
This is a serious, significant human trafficking ring here.
Yep. Yeah, and I just want to kind of go one further with you on that, because here is former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky, what he had to say about this.
They allege everything from rape to sex trafficking to being drugged, and then also things like sexual harassment and other workplace type violence or abuses that are going on. I put this somewhere in between a Harvey Weinstein and an R. Kelly type of case. So I think that the criminal aspects are something that have to be deeply investigated.
In other words, he's saying, Chris, this is a significant case, and now you've got the...
Okay, so, all right, you're saying, B, that, they weren't there for him. They were there for somebody else. And I'm saying that it was sex trafficking going on like fucking crazy, B. And how can anybody say that Sean Diddy Combs, Jesus, guys, got so many names. Sean Diddy Combs didn't know about this stuff going on in his house, B?
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's what his lawyers are gonna say.
Yeah, of course. It's another one of these. OJ was out on the front lawn practicing his golf swing.
Let's take a listen.
You've got the Southern District of New York involved in this. A lot of heavy hitters in that area. So it really looks like Sean Combs, Diddy, is in some trouble.
It appears so. I mean, the question is, since they're issuing some disclaimers about him being the target, is he really the target? I mean, it sure seems so. I mean, logic would tell you they're going to his house, going to both houses. They're focusing on his two sons. They have them in zip ties. During the course of the search warrants, they may have searched his airplane at Opa-locka and detained some people at Opa-locka Airport, which I work down in Miami. That's an airport of some notoriety. It's a small airport. Used to be a smuggler's airport. So, there's a lot to work with here. And I guess it all rolls back around to it's a pretty significant investigation if you've got HSI going to all this trouble out of the Southern District of New York, which is a serious district.
Yeah, former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker. Chris, great to have you on the show as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Trace.
All right, so there you have it there, B.
Yeah, indeed, that was something that we're going to have to keep following and so forth. And it's not going to all clear itself up or whatever else overnight. This is something that's going to last for quite a while. We're going to be going on a break in a few minutes, apparently. We've got some break coming up. When we come back, we will be delving into the terrible tragedy over in, of all things, Moscow, the suburb of Moscow, at the Crocus Plaza that was there, where terrorists had attacked and killed a great number of people and injured a great many number of people. A lot of things, a lot of information we've got to go in over there that we can talk about and discuss. When we come back, 508-974-4231. Pick up the phone, call us. We want to talk with you, hear what you have to say. Ask a question. We'll see what we can answer it. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with The Way We See It with yours truly, Blazeman, and my boy, Mr. B. Thank you very much for being here with us, and we got another hour to drive you people crazy. So please like and share the show. Come and visit us every Tuesday night. As you can see in one of our ads that we play, we have quite a few shows on the FFN network, and we appreciate all you newcomers because we can see you when you're new. So we appreciate you all very much, and we're going to give you a round of applause with the bell, baby. You got to be on fire to get that. That's what I got to say. You got to be on fire to get that, B, right?
Absolutely. Before we go any further, I do have a correction to make. Rockland, Maine, not Wiscasset. My friend Stephanie is in. Stephanie, sorry about that, but well, they're two communities are very close to each other. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, Steph. I hope you bring more of your friends along with you. And in the meantime, we're going to get into the situation of what happened over in Moscow. By the way, Moscow, not Moscow.
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 Otherwise, it will be Muscowites. Not they pronounce it Muscovites.
That's how it's spelled.
Moscow.
Moscow.
In Moscow, the other night, 4 people that we hear are alleged to have committed the heinous act. A Delajan Mizroyev, Sadak Rami Mirodoli.
Well, what are you saying, B? Who are these people?
I'm getting there.
Oh, I thought you would say it.
Shamsuddin Farid Abduni and Muram Ad Suber Fazov are the names of the people that are in custody in Russia now, accused of having taken and gone and made the attack in Moscow, in that suburb. In that, basically, it's a multi-use venue that they have here. Usually they'll have concerts and so forth. They may have films or whatever else, but it's basically an exhibition, concert, and an acting venue that they have in suburb of Moscow that seats by some sources it is 7,300. By some others, it is 6,300 seats of people. Roughly just about 8 o'clock at night, 4 men at least entered the building armed with AK-47 submachine guns and Molotov cocktails. There had been questions as to whether or not there were other explosive devices like either IEDs or conventional hand grenades. No, they're saying now it was the use of Molotov cocktails, and began throwing the Molotov cocktails and shooting indiscriminately at women, children, men, whomever were all around, anything that they could find. The attack lasting about 20 minutes before the terrorists, made their escape and apparently fled the building. Had the building on fire in at least 2 different positions, which quickly converged into one large fire. They did have security in the building, although security in the building was not armed. There were some people that were able to get evacuated out through below the building. There were what they call underground, we call subways. They were able to get out through some of the underground subway tunnels. However, other people were trapped inside the building as the fire continued to build and rage on. 138 people dead by gunshot wounds, at least 180 more wounded and hospitalized. This does not account for people who may have been wounded or killed by fire or flame or lost. There are still people, as far as I know, that have been still unaccounted for. Things had gotten the Russian people summoned everything they possibly could: ambulances, police, fire, which is run in Russia, is run by the military and also other military people. They brought in helicopters to drop water on the building to try to put the fire out. It was raged out for so many hours, it well into overnight, into the next day, and it probably took the better part of, to completely put out all the fires, about a day and a half's time. The guns that were used again were AK-47 fully automatic guns, the type that the military has, and they're all over, and they are the preferred weapon of terrorists everywhere. Fires a 7.62 by 39 round, which travels at 2,350 feet per second, and does an terrible thing when it strikes a body. It doesn't go through and through. No, it likes to tumble a bit, knock around, and rips through flesh and does a hell of a damage. Terrible thing. The Molotov cocktails, it all depends on what size bottle you have and what you've got in it. Usually they'll just take gasoline or ugly flammable vodka or something, a mix thereof, toss it, and boom, it creates not only a fire but a blast effect, which can also, of course, it'll be throwing shards of glass into people that would be around, and just absolutely devastating things. Prisoners were captured, and the people, you can see photographs that they have on the internet. I'm not going to show them here. Photographs of these people that look like they were badly beaten, and well, not going to do it. But this is what you're seeing now is the AK-47, the standard thing that is used by the Russian military. It is used by several other militaries around, mostly of communist nations, like down in Cuba and so forth. China has the same sort of thing. And here is a fellow throwing what is a Molotov cocktail, which is basically
these pictures are not pictures of the scene at all that happened in Russia, ladies and gentlemen.
These are just to give you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, of what happens and so forth. This is a picture of a person actually throwing a Molotov cocktail with a rag stuffed in it that is soaked with the flammable, so it continues to burn, will not blow out as it's being thrown, and when it's thrown, it creates just a devastating effect.
Yeah, and some of them, if they're done right, would you put some dish soap in there, and once you throw it, the dish soap helps it stick to you. And the size rounds that they are pumping off or something to this nature, correct, B?
That is a 7.62 by 39 standard, if you will, just a copper jacketed regular projectile.
It's a 5.6 or a 7.62.
7.62 by 39 millimeter cartridge. The projectile is a little bit is a little bit larger than the 5.56 that our or 223 our AR-15s,
military
would fire. Larger in diameter, and and so it has a little bit slower muzzle velocity. So when it goes, it just wreaks havoc on a body.
Right. And you said that the people that were throwing the Molotov cocktails were the ones that started the huge fire.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what started a fire, which eventually developed into this. Now, I have absolutely no idea how the fire, if they had done an awful lot of pre-planning to be able to throw these in, and in a knowledgeable area where they had researched to find out whether or not uh, it would cause the fire to build and spread as quickly as it had, or if they just went through and through these things hockety pockety. My best guess is that these people had made several visits to this venue, studied things because they got in and out and done so much damage in such a period of time. There was an awful lot of pre-planning that went on here, I believe. And of course, it being a public place, they can get in and see things. Maybe perhaps they bought tickets and saw other things in the venue and studied what what and where and when and how and why to toss these things in order to get the biggest fire going as quickly as
Well,
possible.
they wanted to, in my opinion, shoot and kill as many people as they possibly could, and excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't care what country it is. Terror is terror, and innocent people that don't give a shit about war, like we don't give a shit about war. War is fucking hell, and innocent people, Russians, I don't give a shit who they are. They're a human being, okay, with children and parents and grandparents and everything else underneath the sun. And they shot, and when we first reported it live on the breaking news, it was 40 confirmed dead, and then all of a sudden it's like 137. You know what I mean? It's on their way out the door. They want to light this place on fire, to make sure they burn the bodies, they burn evidence, whatever the situation may be. Wouldn't you say that's a fair assessment, B?
Well, one of the things, again, these are terrorists. They are built on terror. They don't want to just take and shoot and kill people. They want to see these people running around with their hair burning or burns and skulls and so forth, because they want to give, if they will, the biggest bang for their buck, the biggest amount of terror, of horrific scenery for their action. They want people to be seen that are bleeding. They want to see people running around, maybe carrying children that are limp, dead in their arms, and so forth. They thrive for this. And it is said that these people, the ISIS, Islamic State in Syria or Islamic State in wherever, is claiming responsibility for it in retribution for the Russian involvement in Afghanistan for some 20 years. It is said
in the 70s,
70s and 80s.
Yeah, 70s, early 80s. Yes.
It is said that Russia's involvement there at that time, largely Russian people refer to it as their Vietnam. They compare it to our involvement.
Well, I think our news media is the ones that created it was their Vietnam. Yeah, technically it was. They were there for like 10 years or so. They lost tons of troops, couldn't afford to do this, that. Plus the United States were handing out Stinger missiles and all that crap like that.
I have seen
So this is the inside of that auditorium, concert hall there.
Right. Well, as you can see, it's something like this. It's a perfect thing because, especially if the people come in, and you can shoot.
I mean, if they're coming in through these doors right down over here, and the audience is there, my God, it's target practice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You've got the people all lined up here. They can just spray gunfire indiscriminately, but I believe they came out. If you move your cursor all the way over to the left side of the picture, about midline down, you can see like a door area. Can you move your cursor up on that? No, to the left, your other left. A little bit further over, all the way over the left edge of the picture. A little bit further. Okay, drop it down halfway through. Bingo, right there. You see those openings there?
Yes.
Okay, that's probably where the people came from, so that they could get not only upper but also shoot downward, because everybody knows you have a lot better if you have the high ground. You have a lot better venue and so
Yes,
forth.
because we're showing the upper part of this of the auditorium, the hall. Because right here, where my cursor is now, technically it should go underneath these chairs because this is the top level. Anyhow, either way, these six sons of bees.
Absolutely,
I get the same way, B. I get the same way.
Yeah,
If anybody else is
absolutely.
agitated, just give us a call, 508-974-4231. Again, that number is 508-974-4231.
It's a horrific thing that you can think about. Not only going in and doing a mass shooting, of course, things like that, but also throwing Molotov cocktails and watching. Not only is the building catches fire, but there are people who get burned and so forth. The amount of screaming, the amount of terror, the amount of horrible things that have happened, I cannot, for the life of me, think enough to be able to imagine what it must be like for the people going through those sorts of things.
I don't want to imagine it. I don't even want to think about what these poor people are going through. I don't. Why would you want anybody want to imagine that? With that being said, B, I got a video coming up and how the U.S. and Canada, French, and all that stuff like that, kind of tried to warn Russia that this was going to happen. Let's take a listen.
The US Embassy in Russia has warned that extremists had plans for an attack in Moscow. And this comes hours after Russian security services said that they had foiled a planned shooting at a synagogue by a cell from the Afghan arm of Islamic State. Well, the embassy through its website urged all US citizens to leave Russia immediately and added that people should avoid concerts and crowds and be aware of their surroundings. However, it gave no further details about the nature of the threat. US allies including Britain, Canada, South Korea and Latvia have repeated the US warning and have told their citizens not to travel to Russia. The warning came several hours after Russia's Federal Security Service, which is the main successor to the Soviet-era KGB, which said that it had foiled an attack on a synagogue in Moscow by a cell of the militant group Islamic State. The FSB said that the cell was operating in Russia's Kaluga region as part of the Afghan arm of the group. The group is known as ISIS Khorasan.
So we warned them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, by the way, the FSB that I speak about would be the Russian Federal Security Bureau, I believe. Yeah, we did give them ample warning and told them that there was something that was imminent, was coming. They knew it was coming, but, well, Russia took it with a grain of salt, and well, here you are. Perhaps, Putin being Putin, deliberately decided to allow it to happen so we could turn around, because they are trying to blame this, of all things, on people from Ukraine. They are trying to say, or he's trying to say, and has been saying, that these people, after forging forward with their attack and doing what they had done, made their escape and found they were found on their way to Ukraine, which I'd sooner eat soup out of my septic system than believe that. I can't believe that for anything. I cannot believe it for anything.
That's kind of tough, B.
Well, do you believe that the Ukrainian government is behind this?
No.
Okay.
But that's what Putin's trying to do. He's trying to do just like what we did with 9/11. Instead of just going in Afghanistan and staying in Afghanistan, because we knew that's where the bad guys were in Afghanistan, we decided to say, hey, let's take another shot at Saddam Hussein. And, we told everybody, our government told the American people a bunch of bullshit lies about weapons of mass destruction just to go in there. So that is what Putin is trying to do right now with his people. Go ahead, B.
Well, clearly Saddam Hussein and his people did have weapons of mass destruction, and they used them against their own people.
In the
Remember when he
70s and 80s, B?
no
And they still have those.
no.
Okay, tell me, B, tell me.
After the first Gulf War that they had there, he went and started throwing mustard gas and all things his own people, the Kurds, the Kurdish people. You don't
Yep.
remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And what he used, weapons of mass destruction. They were
Okay.
there, and
Yep.
and these are things that were outlawed by the Geneva Convention, and the man should have been brought before the Hague long before.
Well, here's the thing with that, B. Number one is they never found any weapons of mass destruction. They didn't find them. Okay. But we didn't all know that till like 2 years after the war was over. Then the bullshit lies started, coming to surface. Now,
I
go
say
ahead, B.
the reason why that they didn't find them is because while everybody was looking at everything else, they snuck them out and secreted them out through Syria.
B. We found Saddam Hussein in a fucking hole in this entire country. We found one man on some piece of land in a huge giant country in a freaking hole. Okay, you're gonna tell me that if there was weapons of mass destructions there, we wouldn't have found them? Yes, we
Again,
would
because
have.
they removed them
B.
to Syria.
Okay, yes, we would have found them. My point I'm trying to make here is that that's what Russia is trying to do with Ukraine. Ukraine opened up the border for them and, let them through. They knew what was going to happen. They assisted them, all this stuff like that. So he can try to, get the people of Russia behind him. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know how the Russian people feel, but
Well, let me ask
and
you
I'm
this.
not trying to call the Russian people dumb in any way, shape, or form. I swear to you all. Okay, but I just don't understand why you guys don't think that Putin is a rat fink, man. Because he literally killed his political opponent. Literally killed him.
Oh
You
no,
know
he
what I
didn't
mean?
kill him. The guy slipped on a bar of soap.
So yeah. And speaking slipping on a bar of soap, we have some disturbing videos, so viewers' discretion is advised, of Russian soldiers interrogating one of the terrorist attackers. Now, before we show this video, ladies and gentlemen, B, didn't they say that they detained 11 suspects?
There were a number of different reports of things. Nothing that has been able to have been confirmed over what we have,
Except for what we have now, right?
Right.
And what's it, 5 of them?
There are 4, and there has been talk that there is a 5th one who may still be at large.
I think we have a picture of the 4 of them. B, give me 1 second. Well, I'll have that up for our viewers in a lickety split here. Here we go. All right. So here's the 4 of them right here.
Yes.
I seen this guy like on video where my green cursor is over, ladies and gentlemen. And this guy was like in a fucking wheelchair. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know if he was knocked out or he was sleeping. You know what I mean? This guy right here, again, the green cursor is over his face. They worked him over. Look, they worked this guy over. Look at the side. He's got a broken jaw. Guaranteed. Wouldn't you say, B?
No. I think that fellow is just he's keeping food in his mouth for later.
Right. Yeah, because the Russian soldiers wouldn't beat the suspects to death.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
So again, there's 4. There wasn't 5. There's 4. Unless there was 5 and one, he
That's
didn't
why I
get to
say
show up.
there is talk that there is a 5th who is still at large.
At large.
That's what I said before.
Okay. All right. This guy, they clearly roughed him up a little bit. It looks like he's got a bandage on his ear. Speaking of bandages on his ear, getting back to where we got a video, viewers' discretion is advised. Anyone under 18, get the hell out of here now. Yeah, we got a little video of that. So let's watch a little bit of Russia interrogation. Let's take a peek. Yeah, let's get that backed up. There we go. This is the gentleman, they got to cut his ear off. So I know that was a little bit disturbing, ladies and gentlemen, but that was this gentleman right here. If we could get back over to this part of the thing. There we go. That was this gentleman right here, ladies and gentlemen. This one with the orange cursor over it. That was him right here. Yeah, they roughed him up. Tried to pull some of his teeth out and things like that. I don't know how I feel about things like that, B.
World War II General George S.
Holy
Patton Jr.
fucking
had
shit,
something
I had
to
you
say.
tamped all the way up.
Sorry about
God
that.
damn it.
World War
Wasn't
II
your
General
fault.
George S. Patton Jr. had something to say about the Russian army and so forth that I will not repeat. But
We're being self-righteous tonight,
oh
there?
not being
Oh,
self-righteous.
okay.
It's just that, well, all right, fine. I'll quote him. I'll quote him for the sake of information. I will quote him. I believe U.S. General George S. Patton Jr. World War II referred to the Russians as the Mongoloid Russians, and it's for reasons of this particular type of situation where during the war he had gotten word of that these are the sorts of things that were happening and worse at the hands of the Russians to the people whom they had defeated as they went along, pushing their way back into Germany.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean that is it. If you come to expect something else, these people have done terrible things, and of course, if you think that this sort of thing did not happen while they were in Afghanistan, think again.
Of course it happened. It happened during yes, when we were in Afghanistan. We tortured the shit out of everybody until Obama.
No, I mean the Russians. When the Russians were in Afghanistan,
I know.
The things that the Russian
Well, you
people
seem
did.
to have a problem that we're not capable of doing things like that, though, B.
No, I'm not saying we're not. I mean, look at Abu Ghraib.
Yeah, you can't deny that.
Things that happened down in Guantanamo Bay, Abu Ghraib prison,
But
and other
I've
things.
also, you're also here to take the same kind of things of what the other side is doing. They're torturing Americans too. They tortured Afghanistans, they tortured Russians tortured this, that.
There are certain things that are a necessity, whether we like them or not. War is a filthy thing. It's not pleasant. It's not all nice. You don't have people walking around like, "Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Here, I'm going to shoot you now." No, it's not. It's not all pleasantries and niceness and so forth. It's not Marquis of Queensberry rules.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's not.
Right. You're absolutely right, B. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you don't pay attention. always pay attention to your surroundings, and
Speaking of which,
before you get one of these in the back of your ass butt. You know what I mean?
there you go. And if you
And
want to learn how to pay
that's
attention to your
not
surroundings,
pretty, this thing, man. Look at that.
no, not at all. That's something that will screw you up for the rest of your life if you survive getting hit by it.
It's a little bit bigger than a 22, right?
Oh, much larger than the 22. Much larger than the 22.
Okay, I'm trying to figure it out with the fingers. Yeah. Anyways, so we don't know if that's a 7.62. I don't know.
Oh, that is a 7.62 by 3.9 standard round of ammunition.
Right.
That was
right.
there. Anyway, you want to figure if we were talking about your knowing what your surroundings are and so forth. We've got the I-12 guys that come up tomorrow night with their show, and they have ways of teaching you the best way to know your surroundings and so forth and be informed. So watch them.
Right.
8 o'clock tomorrow night. We got a break coming up for another 3.5 minutes or so, and we'll be back.
We'll be back right after this break, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around for the last half hour of the way we see it. That's all, folks. We'll be right back, man.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
All right, B. All right. We got a half hour to go there, pal. Half hour to go there.
I want to reach out if you, Blazeman, if you don't mind. I'd like to mention something.
What'd you say, B?
I said I want to reach out if you don't mind. I'd like to mention something.
Yeah.
that the wonderful FFN network is doing things. We're looking to expand things, and we're considering people. If you got an idea for a show, we'd like to hear about it. We'd like to talk with you about it. We're looking to welcome more people into the fold and help bring more content and more joy and happiness and la and good things to our viewers. What do you think? What do you think? What do you say about that, please? Am I right or am I wrong?
Absolutely fantastic. I agree 110%. If you do have an idea for a show, okay, and you listen, we understand that everyone could go and do this, okay, all right. But would you rather have a company like the FFN network do it all for you, and all you got to do is just look the way you want to look, have a little bit of a background, and we'll run the entire thing for you. You just got to be pretty. No, for real though. It's that, and of course, we have to make sure that your content is okay to be a part of the FFN network. And there's other steps, but we're always looking for content creators. And again, hey, just check us out. Send us an email at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com. Again, that's ffnnetwork9@gmail.com. And if you want to call and talk to us right now, because B's anxious to talk to freaking somebody, you know what I mean? Give us a call at 508-974-4231. All right, B, let's get on and let's finish up here with a little bit of Russia, because more is going to come out of this. Russia's just not going to sit back and do nothing. So let's check this last video out of the night, ladies and gentlemen, and let's have a discussion about it.
The four men accused of carrying out the deadliest terror attack in Russia in nearly 20 years appeared in court on terrorism charges yesterday. Each showed signs of severe beatings, and Russian media reports the men were tortured during interrogations. The men allegedly opened fire at a concert hall near Moscow on Friday. More than 130 people there were killed in the attack, including children, and more than 180 others were injured. An affiliate of the Islamic State group says it was behind the attack. For more analysis here, let's bring in CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd. She's also a former assistant secretary for counterterrorism and threat prevention. Thanks so much for being with us. Sam, start with explaining to us what this ISIS affiliate branch is all about. Who is this, and what did the U.S. know about this group before the attack?
Well, Chanel, ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and al-Shams, has suffered territorial and leadership losses over the past several years in Iraq and Syria. However, ISIS, over the course of its history, really since 2004 and 2005, has developed about 20 or so regional affiliates. ISIS-K, or ISIS Khorasan, who's claimed responsibility for this attack, is ISIS's regional affiliate in Afghanistan and parts of Pakistan, Iran, and Central Asia. ISIS-K has historically been focused on gaining control of swaths of territory in that region, but has been expanding the geographic scope where it's conducting attacks, really focused on harming the reputation of the Taliban and foreign interests in Afghanistan, as well as pushing back against foreign interests that are fighting ISIS more broadly.
And Sam, House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Representative Michael McCaul joined Face the Nation just this weekend. There he seemed to suggest the other U.S. interests could be future targets of this group. Listen.
I believe so. I think the CENTCOM commander, General Kurilla, just testified this week before Congress that within 6 months that ISIS-K would have the capability to operate outside of Afghanistan, to do external operations. And it only took 6 days before they hit Moscow or outside of Moscow. And I think Europe is of concern. And it's sort of like we're going back to that old playbook where history repeats itself.
This is a really chilling comment. I mean, how widespread is this terrorist organization, and who should be concerned here?
Well, ISIS-K has already struck outside of Afghanistan. It's struck in Pakistan, Iran, in parts of Central Asia, and now in Russia. Having served as the lead official for counterterrorism at DHS, I will tell you that our planning did include taking steps to mitigate any threat that ISIS-K could pose to the homeland, as well as threats to U.S. interests in places like Europe. And that involves a lot of intelligence cooperation with our partners, as well as ensuring that we are doing screening and vetting of any individual that's coming here to ensure that they have no terrorism-related ties.
Okay, Sam, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, B.
My best guess, they're not going to go through be the one trick pony or whatever else. They're going for someplace new. They've hit London, they've hit Paris, they've hit the Netherlands, they've hit the United States, they've hit Russia. They're going someplace new.
Okay, so they hit the United States. Where do we go? Do we go back to Afghanistan to try and wipe out ISIS? Do we take out ISIS from, from the ships out at sea? Tell me, B. Where are we going with this? Tell me.
The problem is you can't go to Afghanistan to wipe out ISIS because ISIS is in Afghanistan. They're in Syria. They're in United Arab Emirates. They're in Egypt. They're in all over Lebanon. They're all over the place. They're in parts of the former Soviet bloc countries. They're all over the place. If you go to one place, you're not going to wipe them out. If you go to two places, you're not going to wipe them out.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Israelis are fighting a war, and they have cornered the last batch of the Hamas, the last batch of these people. But once they're pummeled and they're done or whatever else, the problem's still going to be there. Why? Because the idealism is there, and it's only going to be a matter of time before this same train of thought, this same way of living, this same mindset comes back and goes back and repoisons the people of Gaza. It's just not going. It's been going on for thousands of years. It's been going on for thousands of years.
Well, it has. At some point, people are going to get civilized. Don't you think? At some point, it has to end. When I don't understand the way some of these cultures understand God. Oh boy, you can't say this without bringing up that. But my thing is, yeah, they have been battling for thousands of years. Exactly. You know what I mean? Oh, this was my land. In the Bible, it was like, oh, the Jewish people, I forget which one sent them out into the desert, and they walked for what, 40 years?
Well,
B, am I correct?
Well, yeah. The Israelites wandered for 40 years before whatever else because of what had happened. It has nothing to do with what's happened here.
Yeah, because we're talking about land.
The land was taken over by others when they had gone and basically the Israelites lost the land.
Who owns it? Was the Pakistans there first? B, or was Israel there first? Because the Israelites were sent to wander for 40 years. 40 years.
They called it Palestine, but it was the land that the Israelites owned and lived on.
When?
Since recorded time started. And over time,
So no
one
one
thing
was
happened,
so
another thing happened. The Romans
so
came, and
so
this one
when
came, that one came.
when Israel decided to stay put, nobody else owned that land. Israel made it their own.
It was the promised
It
land.
wasn't part of Egypt at all.
No.
No, not at all. Okay. We'll have to discuss this at on another show. But I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to have to be like a wait and see. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. B?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if Donnie was here and Donnie would be giving everybody else the money pot and you know the devil's advocate and Mr. D would just be Mr. D on point. When he's on point, you can't slow him down.
Absolutely not.
But when he's not on point, he's just like, you know, you got to do. You got to wake him up. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I mean, do they kill these guys on national TV? Russia?
I'm sorry?
Does Russia hang these guys on national television?
I don't know. I don't know that they would hang them.
On Russian television?
They might opt to do something like a firing squad. They might hang them. They might behead them. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know neither. But
exacting their.
But do you think it's going to be televised?
Very possibly. I mean, look at what happened with Saddam Hussein.
Well, that was televised.
Yeah. Yep. My point is, maybe they don't kill these people. Maybe they send them off.
They
to the
strung him up
gulag.
with piano wire, man. That's fucking crazy cruel.
Who's that?
Saddam. They strung him up with piano wire.
Is that what they used? I thought they used regular rope, and he was just. But okay.
Piano wire.
Because I remember seeing when he was going.
Yeah, I'm sure I could find that in a heartbeat. Well, we're not going to air that. That
why
stuff.
bother? You know,
I'm not going to. But go ahead.
Right. No, Saddam Hussein. No use or whatever else. My question is: are they going to kill these guys?
Back up, B.
Are they going to kill these guys, or are they going to put them in the gulag or something of that nature? Send them off to Siberia.
And do what?
Whatever you do in Siberia besides freeze. Working mining, whatever. Yep. The Russians have many different ways to take in, if you will, dispose of live people, putting them into prisons that are in places that I don't think anybody would want to. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. As far as I'm concerned,
right.
The Russians will deal with this as they only the Russians can. If they truly believe that these are the people and these are only the people that are behind this attack, okay, fine. I'm thinking we got 4 guys that did this attack. There's got to be a lot more behind it.
No way, B. Come on. Yeah, 4 guys, and every one of them survived. Not one Russian took a shot at one of these dudes. What were the reports about 11? There was more than
had to be more people.
There was more
behind this in the planning, in getting the weapons in the place.
Of course, there was
in hiding, secreting them, or whatever else. All of this, there had to be a lot more than just 4 people. The question is, where the hell are they? And are the Russian security agencies busy trying to chase them down or research it or find it or whatever?
Right. I am just, oh man, I just lost what I was going to say. Damn it. Okay. So, anyways, I mean, that's what I wanted to say. This is like way out of like left field. All right, something to that. It's just like, you, huh? But I mean, damn it. What if it's something set forward to distract us from something else for a
Oh,
while?
a diversionary tactic?
Yeah.
This being a precursor to something else? I don't believe so.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, in the beginning, it was just what? Ukraine, 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 Ukraine. Then on my birthday, October 7th, Pakistan's decided they were going to go. I'm sorry, the Houthis decided they were going to go and, do what they did
No,
into
no, no.
Israel.
Try it again. You're getting closer. Hamas, not the Houthis.
Hamas.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah.
man. It's just a bunch of them. And again, so Hamas goes in and does what they do. And at first I was like, I kind of got what Netanyahu uh was saying. He's like, this is bullshit. And we're fucking wiping you out now. We don't want you there no more. We're tired of it, things to that nature. And I'm like, yeah, but um I I don't know what the actual numbers are. They're kind of hard to find the actual numbers of civilian deaths. And yeah, you can find it, but it's all from Hamas. You know, all the information is from Hamas. It's only, one side that's saying that there's a lot of people and innocent people dead, and it's over the 30s of thousands of civilian life.
The lion's share of the civilian deaths are on the hands of the Hamas because they're using the people as shields. And the people are just being there and being mowed down by war because of Hamas.
Don't you know that both countries, both entities, they're both praying to God for God to help their side? That's a strong conflict for the Lord, right?
There's one thing that's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is something that isn't recorded in history. It's in the Bible and so forth. The Israelites are God's chosen people. They're God's chosen people. Man, when he was put on this earth, was God's special animal, if you will, or whatever else, God's special creation. But the Israelites are God's chosen people. Now,
Jews are better than everybody else.
No, they're not better than everybody.
Well,
but the Lord God is going to
you
protect
just
them.
created a category, though.
No, the Lord God is going to protect them. For people, they are very much in the minority.
Did this become after Adam and Eve, right? Obviously, right?
Of course, yeah.
Right.
You can't kill people that aren't there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. How much longer though after Adam and Eve? Would you say?
Well, they were cast out, and then things went on.
Yeah, but I'm only asking because the Bible says not to bang your sister.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
I'm sure
the earth had to be created, and that's why I say that we're like this one big family. I think we're all fucking related. Because mom and dad were fucking the creators in Adam and Eve, right?
If you follow everything back, eventually, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, so they need to take that part out of the Bible.
Well,
it's not fair. It's hypocritical. Wouldn't you say?
My aspect of it is there is probably sections of the Bible that are missing that they have yet to unearth scrolls. So maybe what we're reading is there, but it's
Are we?
incomplete.
What are we going to go back to the Old Testament part 2, or we're not going to have a New Testament part 2?
No. But there are
Well, it would be
sections of the Old Testament that are
right,
missing.
right. I agree with you. Do we actually have the stones, the 10 Commandment stones?
Some people have opined that the stones are inside what is known as the Ark of the Covenant or whatever else. I don't believe so, but remains to be seen. Which, by the way, there is now a wide speculation, if you will, or not just speculation, but there is belief. Remember, you may remember that I had mentioned to you about that program about Oak Island, which is up in Canada.
Okay, yeah.
They are now finding information which profoundly suggests that the Templars, or some offshoot of a religious organization that wound up being part of the Templars, may have indeed buried the Ark of the Covenant somewhere on Oak Island up in Canada.
Right.
So now that's the latest thing. They believe that the Ark of the Covenant has been, in order to protect it, was buried somewhere 100 and something feet below the dirt on an island off the coast of Canada. Can you believe that?
That's insane.
Very possible. Now, I'm going to reach out a little bit further. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, what were they? All righty then. The Nina, Pinta, and the Santa Maria were all the 3 ships that were taken in by Christopher Columbus. That, if you may remember, Queen Isabella of Spain financed his journey trying to find a route over to Asia and so forth, and finding and eventually discovered America and so forth. I submit to you that was all a bunch of hogwash. I submit to you that, unbeknownst to a great many of people, they knew, especially Columbus, being Italian and being so close in cahoots with the Vatican, had information knowing about the treasures and so forth that are said to have been taken by the Templars and secreted to this island. The Queen Isabella was actually sending her small armada she could buy to go up to try and find Oak Island and recapture some of these treasures and these artifacts.
Yeah, it's a good show. I mean, I don't know, man. You watch a whole entire season for them to find like a fucking nail and 2 coins. You know what I mean?
They keep finding more and more and more and more information that's pointing towards this.
They should just start on one side, dig all across the whole fucking island.
Eventually, what it's going to take is what I believe actually happened over a period of a number of 100 years or whatever else from this. But I'm crazy. What it's going to take is they're going to have to strip mine that freaking island.
We're almost done here. Don't get
They're
too
going
deep
to have to strip mine that island.
Yeah. They're gonna have to just, just go like I don't do a couple of 100 yards. You know what I mean? With just fucking dynamite. Drop the dynamite down 15 feet. Boom, 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 boom. All the way. Just blow a fucking section of it to hell. Don't go down too far, because according to them, that this thing's pretty deep down, Yeah. But if I think you do that, I guarantee you hit a shaft or something,
160 something feet, 180 feet. All right, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, my friend.
Yes,
I've had an interesting evening here. This certainly has. It's unfortunately, we miss our friends, of course. We hope they'll be back with us next week. We've got tomorrow night, we've got my show coming up at 7 o'clock, Politicking with Mr. B.
You got
And then-
Politicking with Mr. B tomorrow from 7 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, right here on the FFN network. Okay, check them out on the FFN Radio Network Facebook page. Politicking with Mr. B tomorrow, 7 to 8 p.m. Followed by I-12GIA. Real talk with real people. These guys are badass. You want to check them out? You've seen their ad on tonight's show. Check them out Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. right here on the FFN Radio Network. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Then Thursday is the Miss Tammy and Blazeman show. That's a show I do with my wife, okay? And then, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, she's back. Alyssa Thorpe with My Voice is My Power. Don't forget to check her out Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. right here on the FFN network, everybody.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to